Once upon a time, in a lush green forest by a sparkling blue lake, lived a little turtle named Tilly. Tilly was not an ordinary turtle. She dreamed of adventures far beyond her cozy pond. Every day, she watched the birds soar high in the sky and the rabbits hop swiftly through the grass, and she longed to explore the world outside her little home. One sunny morning, Tilly decided it was time to embark on her grand adventure. She packed a tiny backpack with some snacks, a few crunchy leaves and a piece of juicy berry, and set off towards the forest. As Tilly waddled along, she met Benny the bunny, who was nibbling on a clover. "Where are you going, Tilly?" asked Benny, his ears perked up with curiosity. "I'm going on an adventure. Would you like to come with me?" Tilly replied excitedly. Benny's eyes sparkled. "I'd love to. Let's see what we can find." So off they went, Tilly and Benny, singing cheerful songs as they journeyed deeper into the forest. Soon, they reached a shimmering stream. The water sparkled like diamonds in the sun. "I've heard there's a magical fish that grants wishes in this stream," Benny exclaimed. "Let's try to find it," Tilly suggested. They crouched by the water, peering in. Suddenly, a flash of silver darted by. Tilly and Benny jumped back in surprise. "Did you see that?" Tilly squeaked. "Yes, it was beautiful," Benny agreed. "Let's call out to it." With a loud voice, they shouted, "Oh, magical fish, come play with us." To their astonishment, the water began to swirl, and out popped a shimmering fish with sparkling scales. "Hello, friends. I am Finny, the magical fish. What brings you to my stream?" it asked with a twinkle in its eye. Tilly, feeling brave, said, "We want to have an adventure and maybe make a wish." Finny chuckled. "You can each make one wish, but be sure to think carefully." Benny thought hard. "I wish I could hop higher than the tallest tree." With a flick of its tail, Finny granted Benny's wish. Suddenly, Benny began to bounce higher and higher, soaring above the treetops. "Woohoo! This is amazing!" Benny shouted from up high. Then it was Tilly's turn. She thought and thought. "I wish to explore the world and see all its wonders." Finny smiled and waved its fin. "Your wish is granted." With a splash, a bright light enveloped Tilly, and she felt herself lifting off the ground. In an instant, she was soaring through the sky, gliding on a fluffy cloud. Tilly looked down and saw the forest, the stream, and Benny bouncing joyfully below. "This is incredible," she shouted. Finny called from the water, "You can travel anywhere you like, Tilly. Just think of a place." Tilly closed her eyes and imagined a sparkling castle in the clouds. Suddenly, she found herself floating in front of a magnificent castle made of shimmering crystal. As she explored the castle, she met a kind queen who welcomed her. "Would you like to have a tea party with my fairy friends?" the queen asked. "Yes, please," Tilly replied, thrilled. The fairies twirled and danced, pouring magical tea that glimmered like stars. They shared stories of their own adventures, and Tilly felt happy and brave. Meanwhile, Benny was still bouncing around the forest, excitedly telling all the animals about his high-flying friend. "Tilly's up in the clouds," he exclaimed. The forest friends cheered and wished they could join her. After the tea party, Tilly realized she missed her friends in her cozy pond. She turned to the queen and said, "I've had an amazing time, but I think it's time for me to go home." The queen smiled kindly. "Adventure is wonderful, but home is where the heart is. I will help you return." With a wave of her hand, Tilly felt herself being whisked away, back to her pond. She landed softly on the warm grass, just as the sun was setting. Benny hopped over, his eyes wide. "You're back. Tell me everything." Tilly shared her stories, and soon all their friends gathered around to listen, their hearts filled with wonder. That night, as Tilly settled down in her cozy shell, she realized that adventures were fantastic, but sharing them with friends made them even better. From that day on, Tilly and Benny went on many more adventures together, exploring the forest, meeting new friends, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. And so, in their little corner of the world, Tilly the turtle and Benny the bunny proved that with a little courage and a lot of friendship, every day could be a grand adventure.